Hey, what's up friends? This is James Hardy. Welcome to Power Flow. So we're going to start our yoga class out today on our bellies. Feel free to lie down, take your feet to the back of your mats, and then just relax your head wherever it feels comfortable to you. You could put your chin into your hands or one side of your head down to the ground or whatever feels best. But essentially, I just want you to close your eyes and let the weight of your body totally relax down to the ground. Take a deep exhale just to release all the way down to empty. Then breathe into your low belly and your low back, into your mid-abdomen up to your mid-back. Breathe all the way to the chest, all the way to the shoulders. Once you've got your full breath, just hold and relax. And then take a slow exhale for 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right on, let's do that again. Breathe into your low belly and your low back. Take it up to your mid-abdomen and your mid-back. And then breathe all the way up to the chest, all the way to the shoulders. Hold that full breath, biggest breath you've taken of the day. And then that slow exhale down to empty. Okay, find your Ujjayi breathing from here. So those slow, deep inhales through the nose like you're sipping the air in through a straw. Filling from the bottom all the way up to the top. And then slow exhales out your nose as if you're fogging up a mirror. And as you engage those muscles in the back of your throat, you're going to find that you start to create a sound as you breathe. So this sound is often compared to ocean waves. That's a great comparison, the ocean wave breath. You also could compare it to the sound of hollow wind. But as you dial in that breath, you are starting to practice mindfulness. And as we go through the session today, the intention is that we are mindfully going through these poses. So we are using this breath inside of all of these poses, inside of all of these sequences. So as I like to say, let your breath be your guide for your practice, and then just take what works for me and leave the rest behind. Keep doing this deep belly breath. I love when you're face down to the ground like this, you can really easily feel the movement of the breath in your body when you're doing this kind of full diaphragm breathing. And then we'll just start to add a little bit of movement. So bend your knees, pick your feet up in space, and then start to create these windshield wiper circles. You can roll out your ankles, you can get into your arches of your feet and your toes. Definitely rolling out the knee joints, and then this is really nice movement for the low back. Take your knees out a little bit wider, and then you're going to interlace your feet together so you're kind of wrapping the tops of the feet pressed together. And then let your feet gently pull down to the ground back behind you. They're not going to touch by any means. You're just letting them draw back down. And there's going to be a nice stretch on the outside of your legs. And a nice opener for your hips. Excellent. Unwind from there. Let the tops of the feet come down to the mat. And then we'll start to warm up our spines with Bhujangasana Low Cobra. So tops of the hands are to the ground. They're framing your chest, and then just slide the hands a little bit lower so they start to come closer towards your mid-ribs. And then squeeze your elbows in, shoulder blades drawing towards one another. And as you press down into the hips and you press down into the tops of the feet, lift your chest up off the ground. Find length through the back of your neck, so let your chin tuck slightly back towards your throat. Keep up with that breathing, and then just note that this isn't about pushing yourself up through the hands. It's about lifting up through your core and through your back. So there's actually little to no pressure in the hands here. It's more a position we take to really engage those shoulders to help get some strength into that upper back as we're lifting. Nice, friends. And then on an exhale, you can release back down, and we'll press up into a tabletop. Start to work into cat and cow at your own pace. So cat is that arch through your spine, dropping your head, mid-back pulls high. And then cow is dropping the belly, lifting up through the chest, lifting up through the tailbone. You could breathe into one or exhale into the other, or really just work through this how it feels best to you. It feels really nice if you're holding these poses to rock a little bit forwards or a little bit backwards to change up the angle of the pose. And then find a neutral flat back, hands and knees. Let's warm up our wrists. And so just press your palms down to the ground, but point your fingers backward. Your thumbs point to the sides of the mats. And you could just give some little side to side motion or some back and forth motion. You could also lean back in space and peel your hands off the mat to your fingertips and then gently roll back forward. So you're rolling out the fingers, you're rolling out the palms. You're stretching through your wrists and getting a nice warm up through your forearms as well. Okay, and then take the back of your hands down to the ground, give a little press. Your fingers can face one another or point towards the back of the room. Keep that breath going. And then we're going to step up to a forward fold at the top of the mats. You can have your big toes together with some space between your heels or your feet at hip bone distance. Relax your arms until your fingers touch the ground. You can bend your knees if your fingertips aren't quite there. Just add a little bit of a bend to them. And then give your head a slow nod yes. And take a slow side to side nod no. Let the weight of your head just relax. Vertebrae by vertebrae, slowly wind up. Let your head be the very last thing to come up. So your shoulders stack up, your head stacks up. Inhale your arms wide and tall, stretch up into mountain. And then on your exhale, just bring your hands down into your heart center at standing. Inhale to stretch and reach back up into mountain, breathe in. And on your exhale, hinge out from your hips and control your swan dive down into your forward fold. We'll come up to a half lift, so press to your shins, extend your spine forward, gazes to the ground. If you are familiar with working out at the gym at all, there is a row position from here, a bent over row. And what you're doing is you have a very similar position, knees are bent, you're lengthening your spine, but that you're grabbing that barbell with weights on it, and then you're pulling up towards your chest. And why I like bringing this in is that while we're in half lift, we want to extend, we want to strengthen around our spine as well. And the way your shoulder blades come in towards one another when you're doing that bent over row, we are doing that here in yoga in this half lift. Shoulder blades are gently coming in towards one another. On your next exhale, friends, just release it down. Take your feet out to hip bone distance if they are not there. And find a ragdoll frame. Opposite hand to the outside of opposite elbow or bicep. You start to sway side to side or rock back and forth. Alternative to that ragdoll frame, you can interlace your fingers at your knuckles, slide the hands behind the base of the skull, let your elbows open wide, and then do that same side to side rock or that little back and forth movement. And with each round of breath, you want to just feel that you're getting a little bit deeper into this. Releasing a little bit more into the stretch. Start to release your hands from the frame. Bring your fingertips to the ground. And then just move your right hand into the center of the mat. And you can have your fingertips to the ground or your fist or your palm. I'm going to choose my fist. Bend deep into your right knee and then lengthen and press into your left leg as you reach your left arm to the sky and your gaze is over to the left. And what we're doing is getting this really nice twist through the spine, but also even more than that is you're getting this press down into your left leg, lengthening your leg, and feeling a really nice stretch on the back of the leg and on the outside edge of it. And that goes all the way up into your hip. Right on, your next exhale, let's just fold and then switch things out. So bring your left hand down where your right hand was. Bend into your left knee and then lengthen through your right leg as you reach your right arm straight up in space. So again, twisting through the spine, but then pushing down into your right foot and feeling that stretch on the back of your leg and on the outside edge. Okay, next exhale, full forward fold. Inhale halfway up to lengthen through your spine. And then on the exhale, refold. Reverse swan dog, press to the ground, reach your arms wide and tall. Inhale, arms up in space. And on the exhale, cactus your arms open, baby back bend. So your shoulder blades tone in. Lift up through your chest. Find that strength through your core and that support. And then on an inhale, you can extend your arms back up tall in space. And on your exhale, hinge out from your hips and take your swan dive to your forward fold. Inhale halfway up, lengthen through your spine, strengthen around it. And then plant your hands and move back into a plank position. We'll pause at the top, and I want you to shift a little forwards and a little bit backwards. You're dialing in the shape of this. You're dialing in your hips on level with your shoulders. We're bringing a little length into your low back. You feel your low abdominals, your mid abs, and your upper abs nice and engaged, holding up and in. And then as you just stop the rocking back and forth in a hold, find your shoulders right above your hands, spread out into your palms, into your fingers. And then if your elbows are locked, micro bend. So engage the muscles around the joint. Let your biceps tone in. And then you can do this on your hands, or you can do this on your knees with your ankles crossed behind you. We're going to take exhales halfway down to Chaturanga Dandasana. And then on your inhale, I want you to lift back up and avoid bending your hips, so keep that plank. Again, exhale, come halfway down. Inhale, lift back up. Okay, rule of three, last one. Exhale, lower halfway down. Inhale, lift back up. Excellent. On this exhale, slowly lower all the way down to your belly. And then rather than low cobra, this time we're coming into locust pose. So lift your chest up off the ground and extend your arms back. So chest is similar to low cobra, but then lift your legs up off the ground, lifting your thighs off the ground and point your toes back behind you. That length through the back of your neck, that tone through your shoulders, strong with your breathing. Almost there. Right on, so when you're ready, just lower down to the ground. You're going to press up to a plank, or you could go to tabletop, and then shift back into downward facing dog. Draw the hips up nice and tall, and then start to slowly walk the dog out. So drop the weight to one heel while you bend through opposite knee. And while you're walking the dog out, you want to let the hips pull back up away from the hands. And press into the full circle of your palm. Spread through your fingers. And then before you go into the full hold of down dog, bend both of your knees a little bit deeper and reach your hips back up nice and tall. Micro bend the elbows. Dial the biceps in like you're holding a beach ball between them. Release the weight of the head. And then from that full length in your hips, draw your heels down towards the ground. Awesome. Inhale your right leg back it up. Take a three-legged down dog. Let the front of your right hip bone point down and back, so avoid letting it spin open to the right. And then just a nice diagonal line from the hands all the way through the heel. Next, exhale, cross the knee over to your left elbow, shoulders right above your hands. We're holding in here and breathing. And you're trying to lift that right knee right up towards your left elbow. Next, inhale, reach back up to your three-legged down dog. And then on the exhale, take your knee over to your right elbow. Shoulders right above your hands. Stay with that breath. If you want, throw a push-up in halfway down. Inhale, reach back up, three-legged down dog. And then we're going to step it up into our low lunge position. Right foot up between your hands. Nice long stance. And then drop the knife edge of your left foot to the ground. Reach your left arm back and your right arm forward to our warrior two. And then you start to spread out through your legs, right? Right sit bone tucked underneath your body. Right knee is right over your heel. And you've got a long enough stance that right thigh is more parallel to the ground. There's more of a 90-degree bend in your front knee. You're strong as you press down through that right foot. You're holding in onto that right knee. Engage through your upper leg. And then your glute is pulling back up and away from your knee. You're pressing strong through your back left leg. It's nice and lengthened. But then you're also letting your thighs together come back to center line to stabilize you. And then your arms, of course, spread out from there and the gaze out over the fingertips. Shoulder heads could release away from the ears and the back, so there's this really beautiful posture here. And just taking that gaze and shooting it forward in space. Nice breathing. So your next exhale, friends, extended side angle pose. Hinge forward, press your right forearm to your right thigh, reach your left arm straight up in space. Avoid your left hip popping up. Keep that left hip down on level with your right. And then take your gaze up where your left hand is reaching. Doesn't have to look right at it, it might look just beyond it. And your right side body is really lifting away from that right thigh, not falling towards it. You're pushing the forearm down to the thigh to find that lift. On an inhale, open to a star, so legs are wide, all 10 toes point to the left, arms open up wide. Breathe into it. And on your exhale, let's take a wide-legged squat position, so your feet come in a little closer. Your knees are underneath your heels, and you're pointing to the left side of your mat. And then rather than your knees falling forward, you want to feel your thighs rotating up and back so your feet are flat to the ground. Plant your hands to the thighs, lift up through your chest, breathe in. And on your next exhale, let's twist to the back of the room, pressing your right hand off of that right thigh. Inhale, lift back up tall. And on your exhale, take that twist now toward the front of the room. Push off your back left thigh. One more time each side. Inhale, reach back up tall. And on the exhale, twist to the back. Inhale, bring the spine back up in space. And on your exhale, twist to the front. Okay, just come back into your star. Inhale to breathe into it. And as you exhale, return into your warrior two. Right palm to the sky, left hand to your hip, to your thigh or behind you. And then reach the right arm up tall in space for reverse warrior. You can bend your elbow and reach the right arm back if you want. So your torso's not falling back in reverse warrior. It's actually pretty much coming straight up, but then your left shoulder is dropping as your right shoulder lifts, and your gaze can come up so your head can fall back a little bit. You're right into that lunge still. Hold into that lunge. Stay with the breath. One more inhale, and on your exhale, cartwheel your hands down to frame your right foot, turn onto the ball of the left. So we're going to move to side plank and with your left hand as your base. You can, in one move, step your right foot back and stack it over your left as you go into the outside edge of the left foot, or you could first come into plank and then make that happen. But your left hand is your base, outside edge of left foot, right foot, or onto left, and you're lifting up through your right arm, or right hand is to your hip. Draw the hips up away from the ground. If you'd like a variation today, start to reach your right foot to the back of the room, so separating the legs, and then reach your right fingertips out towards the front of the room. Make sure your left shoulder is right above your left hand. That's the best use of that arm. and you're into your palm, and we're not sinking into it, we're lifting away as you press to the ground. And then on an exhale, you're going to turn into a plank. You might go right to down dog or exhale halfway to chaturanga. You could take low cobra, or we can bring this into upward facing dog. And as you go into up dog, your thighs are off the ground, your legs are off the ground. You're in a back bend, but the tops of the feet are rooted and your palms are rooted. Your biceps are toned in, shoulder heads are down away from the ears, and eventually we just lift that back up into our downward facing dog. And then find those alignment points. Let the weight of your head relax. Take a couple rounds of breath. Okay, yogis, on an inhale, left leg to the top corner of the back wall. Again, avoid letting the front of your left hip point to the left. Let it point down and back as you lift that leg up tall. Next, exhale, we will bring left knee over to right elbow, shoulders above your hands. And find that lift up through the knee as you reach forward. Stay with your breathing. Inhale, reach back up. Three-legged down dog, and then exhale your knee to your left elbow, shoulders right above the hands. Hold in. If you want to throw a push-up in, we come halfway down. Inhale, reach it back up, three-legged down dog. Exhale, low lunge, and make it a long, low lunge. Knife edge of the right foot to the ground, and then find your warrior two. Right arm back, left arm forward. And take that moment to feel into it, to get the length out through your legs. Your left sit bones tucked underneath your body. Your heels are in one line from the front of the mat to the back. There is a strong push off your back right leg. You're rooted into it. Of course, the weight of the body is going into the left knee, so you really want to feel the strength of the left leg pushing down, the wrap around the left knee, and then the hug of that glute coming back and up so you're supporting the knee. And then thighs are joining in to center line, stabilizing you as you reach your arms to the front and back of the room. Next exhale, you've got your extended side angle pose. Left forearm, left thigh, right arm lifts up. Again, avoid that right hip popping up in space, lifting up in space. Keep it down on level with your left. Today, take your gaze up where your right hand is reaching. Again, you don't have to look right at it. You can look beyond it or somewhere near it. But as you open your gaze up and back, you're going to feel your chest open up and back. It's a really nice part of this pose. Inhale, star. We're pointing the toes to the right. Legs are wide, arms are wide. Breathe in, and then wide-legged squat, and we're just going to hold it on this side. So take the time to find it. Your feet come in a little closer, knees above your heels. Thighs are rotating up and back. Sit bones are dropping down into it, and you're lifting up through your chest. You could have your hands to your thighs, maybe into your heart center. Maybe open your arms up wide and let the shoulder blades slightly tone in with a little bit of a bend in your elbows. And all those nice leg muscles fired up, right up to your glutes. You could bring the feet in just a little closer and lift the heels up off the ground so you're on the balls of your feet here. Maybe try going a little bit lower, but lowering into the support of your legs. Nice work. Stay with it. Okay, step back out to your star. Inhale to reach your arms up, and on your exhale, open to warrior two to the front. Turn your left palm to the sky, right hand to your hip thigh or behind you, and then reverse your warrior. Again, torso is pretty much straight up in space. Your right shoulder is dropping as your left shoulder lifts, and your head can fall back a little bit. Your gaze can go up. Your gaze could also go to the side of the room, to the right in this case, or back down to your right foot. You could try that, but my favorite is just the gaze coming right up in space. Dial in that breath. You got it. Breathe in, and on an exhale, just cartwheel your hands down to a low lunge. So side plank, right hand is your base. In one move, you could step the left foot back and stack it over the right as you go to the outside edge of the right foot, or you could stage it at your plank first. And then we are drawing the hips up away from the ground here. Your right hand is right above your right shoulder. You can leave your left arm lifted straight up, or today's variation, lift your left leg away from the right, point your left foot to the back of the room, and now reach your left arm forward. Nice, friends. When you're ready, turn into your plank. Go to your down dog or halfway to Chaturanga. Tops of the feet, inhale, upward facing dog. Tuck your toes and reach back into down dog. Okay, we're going to take this one breath to movement now. So on your inhale, right leg back up, three-legged down dog. And then with the exhale, knee to left elbow, shoulders above hands. Inhale, back up, three-legged down dog. Exhale, knee to right elbow, shoulders above hands, maybe a push-up. Inhale, three-legged down dog. And then exhale, low lunge position. Your inhale is warrior two, left arm back, right arm forward. Exhale, extended side angle pose. On your inhale, come up into your star, you're facing to the left. And as you exhale, take that wide-legged squat position, hands to your heart center. Inhale, back up, warrior two, or to star, and on your exhale, open to your warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior, and on your exhale, cartwheel down, low lunge position. Okay, side plank, left hand is your base. Inhale, your right arm lifts up, and then you can exhale to your plank and your choice of how you want to flow. So you can do that push up, upward facing dog, down dog. And then we meet in down dog. Okay, here's the left side. So on an inhale, reach your left leg back up, three-legged down dog. And as you exhale, knee to your left elbow, shoulders above hands. Inhale, back up, three-legged down dog. Exhale, knee, right elbow, shoulders above hands. Maybe throw that push-up in. Inhale, reach back up, three-legged down dog. And on your exhale, step up, low lunge. Inhale, warrior two, right arm back, left arm forward. And then exhale to your extended side angle pose. On your inhale, open to your star, you're facing to the right. And as you exhale, bring it to your wide-legged squat, your horse. Inhale to open back up to your star. And on your exhale, come back to your warrior two to the front of the room. Okay, inhale, reverse your warrior. And with your exhale, cartwheel down, low lunge. Side plank, right hand is your base. Inhale your left arm up. And on your exhale, take your flow. You can drop halfway. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Now that we got that under our belts, let's do one more time each side. Inhale, right leg up, three-legged down dog. Exhale, knee to your left elbow. Inhale, three-legged down dog. Exhale, knee to right elbow. Option to take that push-up. Inhale, three-legged down dog. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, extended side angle pose. Inhale, star, you are facing the left. Exhale to your wide-legged squats. Inhale, open back up into your star. And on your exhale, find your warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And then exhale, cartwheel down, low lunge. Inhale, side plank, left hand is your base. And then exhale, through plank, halfway down. Inhale, up dog, or whatever flow you're taking. Exhale, down dog. Nice, here's the left side. Inhale, left leg up, three-legged down dog. And on your exhale, knee over to your right elbow. Inhale, back up, three-legged down dog. Exhale, knee, left elbow, maybe that push-up. Inhale, reach back up. And exhale to your low lunge. Your inhale is your warrior two. And exhale is your extended side angle pose. Inhale, star, you are facing to the right. Exhale to your wide-legged squat. Inhale, reach back up to star. And exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. And then exhale, bring it down, low lunge. Inhale, side plank, right hand is your base. And then exhale your flow. You could go halfway. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Beautiful, friends. Take a deep breath into down dog. And on the exhale, side out. We meet in child's pose. You can grab a drink of water if you want. And then when you are ready for your child's pose, your knees go out wide to the edges of your mat. Tops of the feet draw together, or tops of the feet are to the ground. Big toes draw together. And then sit bones to your heels with your forehead to the earth and your arms out in front of you. Yeah, this is a really nice way to lengthen your spine, and then to get a really beautiful stretch for your low back and for your hips and for your knees. Nice, work through a few more rounds of breath here. Maybe you try a round of breath or two where you're pressing your hands forward into the ground, pressing your sit bones back towards your heels, and your elbows might lift off the mat as you're doing that. But then also just letting the weight of your body relax into this pose can feel great. And just feel your breath with each exhale, letting your body move into it a little bit deeper. Beautiful, friends. Lift up the tabletop. Drop one of your hips to the ground. Bring your legs forward. And then you'll lower down onto your back. Keep your head and shoulders lifted. Take your legs straight up. Reach your arms forward in space. And then for 15 seconds, join me. We're going to start to twist to the left and then to the right. You can always take a hand behind your head if your head needs more support. But keep moving through the twist on the right and the left. Okay, and then we're going to hold both arms straight up, lifting head and shoulders off the mat, gaze is forward, arms are straight up, legs are straight up. You could totally have a hand behind your head if your neck needs support right here. Feel that flexion through your abdominal wall. Stay with your breathing. Okay, and then we're going to go back into that movement and then take a rest. So arms reach forward, and you're twisting forward through your right, and then twisting forward through your left. Again, maybe you've got a hand behind the base of your skull to give your neck a little bit of support here. Last 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful, friends. Supta Badakanasana, recline bound angle pose. Bring the bottoms of your feet together. Let your knees open wide. Relax the feet to the ground. Knees open towards the earth, opening the hips. And then relax your hands and your arms where it feels comfortable to you. Weight of the head is to the ground. And find that deep, slow Ujjayi breathing. Focus on the sound of your breath. And then you'll lift your knees above your hips, bottoms of the feet point forward. Take your hands behind the base of your skull. Excellent. From here, we're going to extend the legs out onto a diagonal, keeping the low back to the mat. And then we're going to do movement, hold, and movement. So join me. Your movement is inhale your knees in, and exhale your legs straight up and back down to that diagonal, in, up, and down. So inhale in, exhale up and down. You got it. Okay, hold your legs in the diagonal. You want to make sure you don't go too low here, because you don't want your low back to arch. You want to feel it press to the ground as you hold your legs out. So it's kind of that balance of not being too high, starting to lower, but not going so low that you arch in your low back. Okay, then back into that movement. In, up, and down. Last 3, 2, and 1. Awesome, friends. Walk your feet out wide to the edges of your mat. Your knees are up in space. Reach your arms out in a T from your chest. And then you're going to drop your knees to the left, rolling onto the outside edge of the left foot, inside edge of the right. Let your gaze twist to the right. On an inhale, bring your knees back up to center. Gaze up to the sky. And as you exhale, drop the knees to the right. Gaze to the left. Outside edge of right foot, inside edge of left. One more time each side. Inhale, bring your gaze up, your knees up, feet are to the ground. Exhale to the left, gaze to the right. Inhale, bring it to center. And exhale, knees to the right, gaze to the left. Nice. Bring your knees to your chest, grab your hamstrings, and then you're gonna rock up into boat. And if you like that, you can do it a couple times. Go backwards to the base of your skull, lift up to your sit bones. And then inside a boat, we're gonna work with some in and outs for our movements, and then hold boat, and then do in and outs. And what I mean by in and outs is boat, your heels are off the ground. You are lifting up through your spine. You can start out with your hands to your hamstrings. And then the in and outs, you're gonna breathe in as your legs come in, and then exhale, open back up. And you can really work your breath in however it makes the most sense to you. And let's hold boat. So first place in boat is your knees are fully bent. Your arms are away from the back of your legs and you're lifting up through your chest. Second place would be to extend your legs out a little further. And then third place is you're extending as you lift your feet up to block your gaze. And the whole time you've got this really great posture with your spine, lengthening up and back, shoulders toned in. Okay, back to your movement. So inhale, bring it in. Exhale, open up, or just work the breath how it makes most sense to you. Last 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful, friends. Cross your ankles. We're going to come forward into a tabletop position facing the front of your mat. So Dolphin Pose. Let your elbows come down to the ground from that. Take opposite hand to the outside of opposite elbow or bicep. And that's going to get your elbows at shoulder's distance. And then create the shape number 11 with your forearms. So bring your fingertips to right to the top of your mat. Root into the bellies of your forearms, root into your palms. So forearms on parallel. And then from here, we're going to tuck the toes, lift the hips up. And as you start to walk your toes in a little closer to your elbows, lift your sternum away back up towards your thighs. Gaze to the back of the room. And there's a lot of shoulder strength, a lot of core strength. Lifting up through the hips, drawing down through your heels. Stay with that breath. On the exhale, lower down to your knees. Awesome, friends. Press up to your hands, and we're going to meet in our downward facing dog. So tuck your toes and lift your hips back and up in space. Inhale your right leg to three-legged down dog, and on your exhale, step up to your low lunge position. For pyramid pose, step your left foot 1.5 feet behind your right. All 10 toes face forward, and your feet are at hip bone distance. You can totally use a block, maybe on level 1 or 2, where your hands are to the block, and then you're bowing your spine, you're pushing to the block, and as you press to your feet, you're reaching your hips back and lengthening your legs. Or you can have your fingertips down, or fists, or your palms down. Awesome, friends. Exhale all the way to empty. And then let's reverse swan dive. Inhale, arms wide and tall. And on the exhale, bring your hands to your heart center and reach your elbows back behind you in space. Opposite hand can grab onto opposite elbow behind you, or you can create a reverse prayer position with your hands, so your fingers are pointing up your back, and then your pinkies are coming right in close towards your spine, heel to palms coming as close together as they can. Elbows open a little bit, and then on your inhale, everybody lengthen, and as you exhale, fold halfway and hold a half lift position with your back while you have those pyramid legs, pressing to your feet, drawing your hips back. Gaze down, crown of the head reaching forward. Next exhale, release and fold forward. Take a couple rounds of breath, pushing into the floor or to your block as the length of your spine is essentially reaching down the length of that right leg. You're pressing to your feet, drawing your hips back. And now we're going to go for a twist in pyramid. So you could have like your left palm, fist, or fingers below your left shoulder. Or you could bring a block in on like level 1 and press into the block. We're going to start to reach the right arm up in space. And your hips will want to twist. It's up to you to keep them square to the front of the room. And then also your knees are going to kind of want to bend out of the shape of the pyramid pose. So it's up to you as you twist that right arm up that you're drawing the hips back, pressing to your feet. Okay, friends, the next piece that we're going to do is twisted half moon pose. So your left hand is going to go a little bit further out in front of you. You can also have your block on level 1 or on level 2. And then when you stand on your right leg, you're going to lift your left leg back behind you. So it kind of looks like you're going to warrior 3 almost a little bit. But then with your left hand under your shoulder to the ground or the block, you're going to do that same twist you just did. Reach your right arm up in space. Try to lift your back left leg up on level with your hip. Press back through your heel. Open through your wingspan and gaze over to the right. Stay with your breath. One more inhale, and on your exhale, bring it back into your low lunge position. We're going to step back into our plank. Exhale halfway down. Press to the tops of the feet. Inhale, up dog. Tuck your toes and reach it back into your down dog. Awesome, friends. From that downward facing dog, inhale to reach your left leg back up, three-legged down dog. Exhale, low lunge. Okay, step your right foot 1.5 feet behind your left. All 10 toes face forward. Feet are on at hip bone distance with each other. And then again, you could have that block on level 1 or 2 in front of your left foot, so you're pressing your hands down into it. Your spine is folding down the length of that left leg. Hips are drawn up and back. From here, exhale to empty. Hold. Reverse swan dog. Inhale, arms wide and tall. And on the exhale, hands to heart. Reach your elbows back behind you, opposite hand to opposite elbow, or reverse prayer up your back, pinkies in towards the spine. Inhale to reach your hips up, draw back, or your spine up, draw your hips back, and as you exhale, come halfway down and hold that half lift. Strong with those legs, keeping that length, pressing to your feet, pulling the hips back. Making sure your spine's not bowing, keeping that half lift length we've done earlier in class. Breathe into it, and on your next exhale, fold, and then you're pressing your hands to the block or your fingertips to the ground or your fists or your palms. So for our twist, your right hand is down underneath your right shoulder to the block or to the ground, and then you're reaching your left arm up in space, enjoying that twist. And again, your hips are squaring towards the front of the room as you reach up. Hips are drawing back, you're pressing down into your feet. Okay, release that one, and we're gonna go into our twisted half moon. So your right hand, again, just goes out a little bit in front of you. The beginnings of this look like Warrior 3. So you are picking your right foot up off the ground. You're standing on your left leg. Right hand is underneath your shoulder to the block or to the ground. And then from there, you start to twist your left arm open to the sky, reaching that right leg back. Nice, friends. Let's take that just for a couple more rounds of breath. You got it. Last round of breath. Release down, low lunge. Step back to the plank. Lower halfway. Tops of feet on the inhale, up dog. Last down dog. Shift your hips up and back. Excellent. Let your knees come down to the ground. Grab a drink of water as you drop one of the hips to the ground and swing your legs forward in space. Give a little roll out through your ankles. So with your legs extended to the top of your mat, keep your right leg extended and bring the left foot to the inside of your right thigh. Scoot to the front edge of your sit bones. And then make a hook with your peace sign fingers and take that around your big right toe. Press your right heel down and forward, and then reach your left arm up and back in space to the top corner of the back of the room so your wingspan is fully open. Breathe in, and as you exhale, you're going to dive through your right side body and reach your left arm to the front of the room while you remain twisted, left shoulder over your right. You can bend your right elbow to press down off the top of your right shin as a point to pull forward from as you press down. You could also drop the right arm to the inside of the right leg or the elbow all the way to the ground. The flexibility allows that left hand grabs onto the right foot on the outside of it and pulls against it. And then others of us, you're just reaching your fingertips forward in space. Your back left leg is active, pressing down and backwards in space, letting the hips come forward, allowing the spine to come out of those hips coming forward. And of course, that Ujjayi breathing. From the end of your breath, inhale to reach both of your arms up tall. And on your exhale, bring your left hand back behind your left hip. Fingers point to the back of the room. You're on your palm. And then stand up on the right foot, the left knee and the left hand, and reach that right arm up and back in space. Stretching through your side body, maybe even twisting it a little bit to the sky, more of a back bend. One more inhale here, and on your exhale, lower back down to your sit bones. So for double pigeon, you have your right leg extended, your left foot to the inside of your thigh. You're going to bring your left shin so that it is centered to the sides of your mat. And then you want it to be parallel to the ends of your mat. So imagine my mat is now facing you. My right leg is to the side, and my left knee is centered to the sides of my mat. My left knee is parallel to the ends of my mat. From there, you're going to grab your right leg, bring it towards you, and start to cradle. So double pigeon fire log, we notch up the indentation on the outside of the ankle, so between the right ankle bone and the right heel. That indentation goes over the inside ridge of the knee or the thigh close up to the knee. Once you've got that notch, you need to stack your fire logs. So slide your sit bones back until your shins are parallel. Find the front edge of your sit bones and then activate both of your feet. Let your toes flex back towards your shins. So if you have a little bit of a gap between your right knee and your left foot like I do, you could grab the block and just wedge it in there, and then your knee can press down to it, or a blanket works well, or a pillow or something like that. You can also just allow it to remain as is and then just work with it. We can press into the fingertips, lift up tall through the spine, and then the next place you could take this is fold forward, walk your arms out in front of you, and then your right tricep ends up right above your right knee, and you might give a little downwards pressure into that tricep. You could always take this on your back, right ankle over the top of left knee or thigh in reclined pigeon. That's a great place as well. Either way, just enjoying those last few rounds of breath before we take that on the other side. In double pigeon fire log, you want to check that your right ankle is not collapsing. So if it's collapsing and the bottom of your foot is starting to point more to the sky, you want to get that ankle nice and strong and just activate the foot. Awesome, so slowly start to lift back up out of that. And then you're just gonna unwind, reach your legs out in front of you. Give another little roll out through your ankles or one at a time, bend through your knees. So to start that seated floor sequence on the other side, left leg extends forward to the top of your mats. Right foot comes to the inside of your left thigh, and then you just pull the flesh away from your sit bones. Make the hook with your peace sign fingers on your left hand go around your big left toe. Let your heel actively point down and press it down and forward. There's already some activation in that left leg, and then you're reaching your right arm to the top corner of the back wall. Breathe in, and on your exhale, dive through your left side body as you reach your right arm forward. Bend that left elbow. See if you can press down into the top of your left shin, or inside of the leg, or down to the ground. And then reach through your fingertips. Again, for some of us, the flexibility, you're gonna hook onto the outside of that left foot, draw against it. Others of us, you're just reaching your fingertips forward. Right knee is pressing, or really the right leg is pressing down and back, sending the spine forward and out from the hips. And then you're stacking your shoulders, it's a twist. Use that breathing. Rather than your right arm pulling out of your shoulder socket, another thing to think about is that you're keeping your right arm plugged to your shoulder socket, and you're really stretching through the side body away from the hip. And then release. Inhale your arms up as your spine lifts up. And on your exhale, bring your right palm back behind your right hip. Your fingers point to the back of the room. And then you're going to bring it up onto your left foot, your right knee, and your right hand, and just reach that left arm back. And it can be a really great side body stretch. You could also twist a little more, open up into more of a back bend if you want. On an exhale, lower down to the ground. And then you're going to take your left leg a little bit out to the side. This is our double pigeon fire log. And then bring your right shin so it's centered to the sides of your mat. So if you're looking at me again, pretend my mat is pointing towards you. Center to the sides, and then get it parallel to the front and to the back of your mats. Once you have that in place, grab that left leg and just cradle your left leg in towards you. After a second of warming it up, make the notch. So indentation on the outside of the ankle between ankle bone and heel goes over the ridge, the inside ridge of that knee or thigh, and a notch, right? Just goes right like that. From there, stack your fire locks. Sit bones can slide back. Shins are parallel with one another. Flex your toes in towards one another. You can stay upright or you can fold forward. Again, you can always take a block, blanket, or pillow and slide it in between that left knee and your right foot. As you're breathing, I'm going to get a little more specific on this. So we don't want the left ankle to collapse. So if it were to collapse, you might be sliding off of that right knee. Your foot might be pointing up to the sky a little bit. And then you're losing one of the most important parts of the pose. And what it is you're creating a fulcrum point over here. And that's with that ankle right over your knee. And then you're leveraging your knee down from that fulcrum point. And so we want this whole ankle situation to be nice and strong and in place. Okay, so you enjoy the next few rounds of breath in this. Just that slow, deep breathing. That's the yoga. We do our work to get ourselves into these poses with safety, with alignment, and then we bring in that meditative aspect, that mindfulness aspect of letting the breath move through it. Awesome, friends. When you're ready, we are wrapped up on this side, and the rest of class we're going to take down on our backs. So you can just lengthen your legs out in front of you, and then roll down onto your back, bring your knees to your chest, wrap your arms around your knees, and just give yourself a little rock side to side. We can reach the legs straight up in space and just give a little roll out through your ankles. You could do this in a restorative way with waterfall, where you take a block on level 1 and you slide it underneath your hips, so your hips are on the edge of the block and your legs are right up. If you wanted to go into shoulder stand, bring your elbows down into the ground, close in towards your rib cage, and then bend them at 90 so your hands reach up. You push into your head and into your elbows, and you lift your back off the ground, and you bring your hands right up to your low back, right up to your hips, so they're grabbing the pelvic girdle. Lift tall through your toes, and then you need to make sure that the weight is not back on your neck. The weight is on the base of your skull and on your elbows, and your shoulders are slightly touching down, lightly touching down. You need a clear airway to breathe with. You can take that shoulder stand and start to drop it back to plow pose, reaching your legs back behind you in space. Legs can stay straight, or you can add a bend into your knees. Hands to your low back is great to guide the legs back. There's also variations where your arms reach down to the mat in front of you, or down back behind you where your feet are going. Find those last few rounds of breath if you are over in plow pose. And don't go so deep that you can't breathe, right? And then just slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, come down to the ground. If you've got that block in waterfall, release the block. And we'll move ourselves into happy baby. So hooks with the peace sign fingers go around your big toes. And then you bend your knees out wide. Bottoms of the feet point to the sky, ankles are stacked above your knees. And you're pulling down on this frame and letting your body sway side to side. You want to get the hips close into the ground or into the ground. Weight of the head is relaxed and happy baby. Left leg goes flat down in front of us. You can either bring your right knee to your right shoulder or reach your right leg straight up in space and take your left hand to the outside of the ankle or the foot. We're going to go into a spinal twist, so you will roll onto the outside edge of your left hip, either bringing that bent right knee down to the left or your extended right leg over to the left, and then reach your right arm to the right and take your gaze out across your fingertips. So we want to bring that gaze opposite from where your right leg is going. Beautiful breathing. Nice. To switch things up, just roll onto your back. Bring your knees in, give yourself a little rock. And then right leg is flat out in front of you. You either got the left knee up towards your shoulder bent or the left leg's extended and your right hand is to the outside of the left foot or left ankle. And then you roll onto the outside edge of the right hip, bringing that bent left knee over to the right or the extended leg over to the right. Left arm to the left and your gaze out across your left fingertips. Stay with that breath. Nice, and then just come onto your back. Bring your knees in, give yourself one last little rock side to side. And then you're ready for your final resting pose, corpse posture, Shavasana. And we'll just be here for just a few minutes. So extend your legs out in front of you. Let the weight of the feet just relax. Bring your arms down at your sides. Relax the weight of your arms and your hands. Close your eyes. And then you can let go of controlling your breath at this point and just allow your body to take back over on the breathing. Slowly move your fingers and your toes. Stretch your arms all the way back overhead behind you. Roll out your ankles and your wrists. And then roll the weight of your body onto your side into a fetal position, letting the weight of your head just relax onto your bicep, curling up and deepening your breath. Shavasana, corpse posture, is the homage to the end. Fetal position is our homage to the beginning. And as we get ready to plug back in, we'll meet up in a cross-legged position. And you want to find the front edge of your sit bones to root the pose into so you can lift up tall through your spine. In this cross-legged position, we are grounded and we are rooted. but then we are also alert and ready. Take your hands to your heart center. Friends, it's been a pleasure to lead you through your yoga practice. The light in me greets the light in you. Namaste. Okay, amigos, muchísimas gracias. Thanks so much for a great class. Hope you guys have a great rest of it. If you are in a place to make a donation you'd like to, I've got my Venmo ID in the description of this video. If you're not, no worries, it is my gift to you. As always, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And I love you guys so much. I'll catch you next time.